Here's a truth that will sting. Every minute you spend desperately trying to get her attention is a minute stolen from becoming the man she'd actually want. You think you're playing the game, but the game is playing you. And the worst part, you already know this. Deep down, beneath all the rationalizations and excuses, you know that chasing is the opposite of attracting. I'm going to tell you something your father should have told you, but probably didn't. Something that goes against everything modern dating culture teaches you. The reason you're struggling with women isn't because you don't know the right pickup lines, or because you're not sliding into enough DMIs. It's because you've fundamentally misunderstood the game itself. You're trying to win a prize that doesn't exist while ignoring the competition that actually matters. And that competition, it's with yourself. Let me paint you a picture. 10,000 years ago, your ancestors lived in small tribes. Resources were scarce, status was everything. And the men who survived and reproduced weren't the ones who chased, they were the ones who built. They built a shelter, they built alliances, they built skills that made them indispensable to their community. The attention of women was a byproduct of their value, not the goal itself. But here's where evolution played a cruel trick on you. Your brain still operates on those ancient circuits. You feel that primal drive to secure a mate, but you're living in a world where the rules have changed completely. What used to be a healthy drive for reproduction has been hijacked by infinite scroll, dating apps, and a culture that tells you your worth is measured by female validation. You've been programmed to chase, but the environment you're chasing in is rigged against you. Think about it. Every swipe, every like, every message you send into the digital void is feeding a system designed to keep you hungry, never satisfied. The dating app wants you to scroll. The Instagram algorithm wants you to double tap. They profit from your desperation. And while you're busy chasing digital ghosts, something devastating is happening. Your actual value, your skills, your purpose, your character is withering away because all your energy is going toward impressing people who don't even know you exist. This is the first hard truth. In a world of infinite options, the man who chases becomes infinitely replaceable. Here's what happens in your brain when you operate from a place of scarcity. Your prefrontal cortex, the rational strategic part of your mind, gets hijacked by your limbic system. Suddenly, every interaction becomes high stakes. Every text message becomes a referendum on your worth as a man. You start analyzing response times like a forensic scientist. You craft messages with the precision of a diplomat negotiating peace treaties. You become a performer, desperately trying to say exactly what you think she wants to hear. But here's the psychological paradox that destroys most men. The more you need something, the more likely you are to repel it. Women have evolved exquisite radar for desperation. It's not conscious, it's primal. When you approach from a place of need, every fiber of her being receives the message. This man is incomplete. This man is not enough on his own, and incompleteness is the opposite of attractiveness. Think about the men you admire most, your heroes, your mentors, the guys who seem to effortlessly command respect. What do they all have in common? They don't need external validation to feel complete. They're not performing for anyone's approval. They're simply being themselves, fully realized and self-contained. This is what the ancient Stoics understood that modern men have forgotten. Your happiness, your sense of worth, your very identity cannot be dependent on another person's approval. The moment it is, you've already lost. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." He wasn't talking about being antisocial. He was talking about the liberation that comes from internal validation. When you chase, you're literally saying, "I am not enough by myself. I need you to complete me." And no one, man or woman, is attracted to incompleteness. Every hour you spend crafting the perfect message is an hour you're not spending building skills that actually matter. Every dollar you spend on dates with women who barely know your name is a dollar you're not investing in your future self. This is the brutal mathematics of opportunity cost, and most men never do the calculation. Let's say you spend 2 hours a day on dating apps, social media, and texting women. That's 14 hours a week. Multiply that by 52 weeks, and you've just spent 728 hours chasing. That's nearly a month of your life gone. What could you build with 728 hours of focused effort? You could master a new skill. You could start a business. You could transform your body. You could read 50 books. You could develop expertise that makes you irreplaceable in your field. but instead, you're competing in a rigged game where the house always wins. Here's another hard truth. The version of yourself that women actually want to be with is the version that doesn't need them to feel complete. It's the man who's so focused on his mission, so committed to his growth, so engaged with his purpose that female attention becomes secondary. This isn't about becoming cold or distant. It's about becoming centered. It's about operating from abundance instead of scarcity. When you're building something meaningful, whether it's a business, a skill, a body of work, you naturally become more attractive because you're demonstrating the most attractive quality a man can possess. Self-sufficiency, you become someone who adds value instead of someone who needs validation. You become someone who solves problems instead of someone who creates them. You become someone who leads instead of someone who follows. Here's where it gets really interesting. The moment you stop chasing, something magical happens. Not immediately. This isn't some pickup artist trick, but gradually, authentically, you start becoming genuinely attractive. Why? Because attraction isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. It's about a man who knows who he is and where he's going. It's about someone who has something more important than getting her attention. Think about it this way. Have you ever noticed how the most attractive people seem to effortlessly draw others to them? They're not trying to be attractive. They're not performing. They're simply living their lives fully, and others want to be part of that energy. This is the paradox of attraction. The less you need it, the more you naturally generate it. When you're genuinely focused on building yourself, your skills, your character, your mission, you start carrying yourself differently. You speak with more conviction because you're not filtering everything through "will this impress her?" You make eye contact naturally because you're not hiding from yourself. You take up space confidently because you know you belong wherever you are. Women notice this immediately, not because you're playing a game, but because you've stopped playing games. You've become real in a world full of performers. But here's the crucial part. This only works if it's genuine. You can't fake self-sufficiency. You can't pretend to have a mission while secretly hoping it will get you laid. The moment you make self-improvement about impressing women, you're back to chasing just with better abs or a bigger bank account. The work has to be for you. The growth has to be because you want to become the best version of yourself, not because you think it will help you get the girl. So what does the building actually look like? It starts with a fundamental shift in focus. Instead of asking, "How do I get her to like me?" you start asking, "How do I become someone I respect?" It means identifying what you want to create in this world and then relentlessly pursuing it. Maybe it's a business, maybe it's a skill, maybe it's a contribution to your community. Maybe it's simply becoming the strongest, most disciplined version of yourself. The specifics don't matter as much as the commitment. What matters is that you have something that pulls you forward, something that makes you excited to wake up in the morning, something that doesn't depend on another person's approval. This is where the ancient concept of virtue becomes practical. The Stoics talked about 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. These aren't abstract philosophical concepts, they're a blueprint for becoming a man of substance. Wisdom means constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly questioning your assumptions. It means reading books instead of scrolling through Instagram. It means having conversations that challenge you instead of small talk designed to impress. Justice means contributing something meaningful to the world around you. It means solving problems, creating value, and making things better for others. It means being someone who builds up rather than tears down. Courage means doing what you know is right, even when it's difficult. It means having difficult conversations. It means taking calculated risks. It means standing up for your principles, even when it's unpopular. Temperance means having control over your impulses, your emotions, your reactions. It means discipline. It means delayed gratification. It means choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure. When you focus on building these qualities, something interesting happens. You stop needing external validation because you're generating internal validation through your actions and choices. Here's what most men don't understand about building versus chasing. Building compounds. Every day you invest in yourself creates returns that multiply over time. Every skill you develop makes you more valuable. Every book you read increases your wisdom. Every workout makes you stronger. Every challenge you overcome builds your confidence. Chasing, on the other hand, is a zero-sum game. Every rejection is just a rejection. Every ignored message is just wasted time. Every failed approach is just another data point in your growing database of inadequacy. But when you're building, every failure becomes fuel for growth. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself what you're made of. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine two men, both 25 years old. One spends his evenings swiping on dating apps, crafting messages to women who may or may not respond, scrolling through social media looking for opportunities to slide into DMIs. The other spends his evenings reading, working out, learning new skills, building something meaningful. Fast forward 5 years. The first man is essentially the same person he was at 25, maybe a little more bitter, a little more cynical, still dependent on external validation for his sense of worth. The second man has transformed completely. He's stronger, smarter, more skilled, more confident, more successful. He's become genuinely attractive not through manipulation or tactics, but through authentic self-development. Which one do you think women are naturally drawn to? This is the compound effect in action. Small, consistent investments in yourself create exponential returns over time. But those returns aren't just material, they're psychological, emotional, spiritual. You start carrying yourself like a man who knows his worth because you've put in the work to create that worth. You start speaking with authority because you've developed expertise. You start commanding respect because you've learned to respect yourself. Here's the most important truth I can share with you. Every moment you spend chasing someone else's approval is a moment you're giving away your power. Every time you change who you are to impress someone else, you're betraying yourself. Every time you make your happiness dependent on another person's response, you're choosing to be a victim. But here's the beautiful thing about power. You can reclaim it at any moment. You can decide right now to stop playing a game that's rigged against you. You can choose to redirect all that energy you've been wasting on chasing and pour it into building. This isn't about becoming cold or withdrawn. It's about becoming centered. It's about operating from a place of abundance instead of scarcity. It's about having something so compelling in your life that female attention becomes a nice bonus rather than a desperate need. When you make this shift, something profound happens. You stop being needy and start being needed. You stop being a consumer and start being a creator. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. The most attractive quality a man can possess isn't a perfect jawline or a fat bank account. It's self-possession. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and where you're going. It's the internal peace that comes from not needing anyone else's approval to feel good about yourself. This is what women are actually attracted to when they say they want a confident man. They're not talking about arrogance or bravado. They're talking about a man who's comfortable in his own skin, because he's put in the work to become someone he respects. You cannot attract what you are not. If you want to attract a high-value woman, you must first become a high-value man. And high-value men don't chase, they build. So where do you start? How do you break the cycle of chasing and begin the process of building? First, you need to get honest about where your energy is going. Track your time for a week. How many hours are you spending on dating apps? How much mental energy are you burning thinking about women who barely know you exist? How much money are you spending trying to impress people who haven't earned your investment? The numbers will probably shock you. Next, you need to identify what you want to build. What excites you? What problem do you want to solve? What legacy do you want to leave? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? This isn't about finding your passion. That's Hollywood nonsense. This is about finding something meaningful that you can commit to long-term, something that will challenge you to grow, something that will make you proud of who you're becoming. Then, you need to make the commitment. Not to perfection, but to consistency. Not to overnight transformation, but to daily progress. Not to impressing others, but to becoming someone you respect. This means saying no to things that don't serve your growth. It means getting comfortable with being misunderstood. It means choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure. Most importantly, it means being patient with the process. Building takes time. Real transformation doesn't happen overnight. But every day you choose building over chasing, you're compounding your investment in yourself. And here's what will happen. As you become more focused on your mission, more committed to your growth, more centered in your purpose, you'll naturally become more attractive, not through manipulation or tactics, but through authentic self-development. The right women will notice. They'll be drawn to your energy, your focus, your self-possession. But by then, you'll realize something profound. You don't need their attention to feel complete. Their attraction will be the byproduct of your work, not the goal of it. The game you've been playing is rigged. The chase is designed to keep you weak, desperate, and dependent on external validation. But you have a choice. You can keep playing a game where you'll never truly win, or you can change games entirely. You can choose to build instead of chase. You can choose to create instead of consume. You can choose to become someone you respect instead of someone you think others might like. This isn't easy. Building yourself requires discipline, patience, and the courage to delayed gratification. It means saying no to the quick dopamine hits of social media validation and yes to the slow, steady work of becoming a man of substance. But here's the promise. Every day you choose building over chasing, you're investing in a version of yourself that will compound over time. You're creating a life that's genuinely fulfilling, not dependent on anyone else's approval. The men who understand this, who focus on their mission, who build their character, who develop their skills, these are the men who naturally attract high-quality people into their lives. Not because they're playing games, but because they've stopped playing games. You have one life. You can spend it chasing shadows, or you can spend it building something real. The choice is yours, and you make it new every single day. If this perspective shifted something in you, if you're ready to stop chasing and start building, leave a comment below with these 4 words. I control my focus. Let me know what you're going to build instead of chase. And if you want more truth about building a life of genuine fulfillment, subscribe and hit the notification bell. The work begins now.